Trees may look like solitary individuals, but the ground beneath our feet tells a different story. Trees are secretly talking, trading, and waging war on one another. They do this using a network of fungi that grow around and inside their roots. The fungi provide the trees with nutrients, and in return they receive sugars. But scientists have found this connection runs far deeper than first thought. By plugging into the fungal network, trees can share resources with each other. The system has been nicknamed the Wood Wide Web. It's thought that older trees, fondly known as mother trees, use this fungal network to supply shaded seedlings with sugars, giving them a better chance of survival. Those trees that are sick or dying may dump their resources into the network, which might then be used by healthier neighbours. Plants also use fungi to send messages to one another. If they're attacked, they can release chemical signals through their roots, which can warn their neighbours to raise their defences. But like our internet, the Wood Wide Web has its dark side too. Some orchids hack the system to steal resources from nearby trees. And other species, like the black walnut, spread toxic chemicals through the network to sabotage their rivals. Arboreal cybercrime aside, scientists are still debating why plants seem to behave in such an altruistic way. The hidden network creates a thriving community between individuals. When you're next in woodland, you might like to think of trees as part of a big superorganism, chatting and swapping information and food under your feet.
Hey, Shalom, giving all praise unto Yahweh Shemel Shabbat Shemel Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone, and honest you brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. So I'm the brother iBody coming out here to give you a quick video, a quick hit. And I've seen this information here that you're seeing before you. And I thought it would be pretty decent to make a quick video on. A lot of brothers already know what scripture I'm going to go to, which is going to be within the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter. So what we see here is that the Most High is incredible, man. Right, Yahweh Shemel Shabbat Shemel Kodash is incredible. And it's beautiful to see the wondrous works that Esau is only discovering now. Here it is, they destroyed the earth. Here it is, they got it to where life isn't even life, right? You can't even enjoy life. You can't even enjoy space, air, water, clean water. All of these things that we see was in abundance within the ancient world. You got a situation where it's pretty much impossible to enjoy those particular things out here within this kingdom underneath the Red Hebrew Edomite. But as we return back onto the old ways and we start to see the beauty that is withheld within the earth that the Most High hath created, little mysteries are revealed unto us. And you might be going about your walk and the Most High sends you something like this. You're watching a video and you stumble upon a video like this. You really goes to show you that this man Esau, he don't know nothing. Esau don't know nothing. He hasn't got anything to show other than iniquity on the left hand side. This dude he's not prolific, he's not clever. They recycle a lot of the things that they do. This guy ain't it, man. All right, they profess themselves to be clever, but they're not that smart. Okay, and as we get more and more, real science revealed, like this is real science right here, and we know that because the scripture says that. All right, the trees of Lebanon, as we're going to read within a second, they shall rejoice at thy downfall. Why? Because as you can see here, there's a whole network, what they're calling a wood wide web. There's a whole network underneath the ground of communication between these trees that's happening, right? Whether it's a distress signal that they're sending one to another, or whether it be a rejoice signal that they're sending one to another. Another thing that they was explaining when I was watching the original video that I'd watched on YouTube is that not only do these trees send signals to each other, not only do they communicate in times of distress. So for instance, if a tree is dying, the other trees, they'll try to help the dying tree. It kind of reminds me, and it makes you think about why the Most High, when you read the scriptures, likened man unto being trees. You see that? It reminds me of that particular scripture where man was likened unto a tree, or I forget the exact wording of the scriptures, or that particular scripture, Salakia. But you can see that these trees, they communicate with each other, and as I was saying, not only do they send distress signals if they're dying, or a distress signal if there's a particular fungi in there, or not a fungi, but a foreign body within there, but it also sends signals out there in times of rejoicing. So, for example, one of the things that I was trying to explain a second ago is if a tree is in a state where little bugs are on it, they send out a particular pheromone or a particular scent out there to get ladybirds to come and eat those bugs on there, right? And many other little things like that, that encourage growth, that encourage life in abundance amongst those trees. So they got a network that they speak to each other with. And forgive me if I'm not too clued up on the science here, but you might have, once you've seen that video, you pretty much understand everything that's going on down there. Let's read this article to support some of the statements that I've made. Do trees talk to each other? A controversial. Now, they're saying it's controversial, but we've just seen that it's not controversial, and it makes logical sense. There's a whole network of roots underneath the grounds, and they all communicate to each other. So they're probably going to try to throw shade at this guy, but from the other ones, it was a bit more conclusive, right? So it says, I want to go to the point here. If they got points here, okay, let me go backwards because that article is not too great. Okay, discovering how trees secretly talk to each other using the Wood Wide Web, which is them roots. Here we go. So you can see from this demonstration here how the roots, they're all connected up to each other, right? And they share nutrients. But hold on a minute. How does one tree know that another tree needs nutrients? It's that communication, right? I believe they share sugar and carbon, and that's pretty much how trees grow, right? Because they release the oxygen back out into the atmosphere. You see that? This is a win-win. It is a mutually beneficial exchange. It says, while researching her doctoral thesis some 20 years ago, ecologist Susan Simard discovered that trees communicate their needs and send each other nutrients via networks of lattice fungi buried in the soil. In other words, they talk to each other. So let's go to this precept now, and you can see why this precept now, or why the scriptures say what it says. Because if they do talk to each other, right, communicate, then certainly right now is the time that they can communicate in their distress. You see that? Surely this is a time where they're communicating their distress underneath this man Esau. Because not only do they share nutrients, they also share distress signals. So when the tree is cut down, it's going to send distress signals in the roots, because the roots is still there. All right, you cut a tree down, the roots is still there most of the time. So them roots is going to say to the other trees, hold on a minute, I've been cut down. All right, all kind of distress signals being sent out. And really that reminds me of man on earth. Esau, he's gone out there and he's killed a whole bunch of people, whether it be through the food industry, whether it be through what he calls the health system. All right, he's the man that the Most High blessed with the sword, and with the sword he's brought all kind of death within the earth. So it kind of reminds you of man on earth, and it goes to show you that when Esau's destroyed, hey, he who smote the people with wrath and with a continuous stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. Read the 7th verse, Isaiah 14:7. It says, the whole earth is at rest, and is quiet, and they break forth into singing. Yea, the fair trees rejoice at thee. The cedars of Lebanon, saying, how since thou art cut down, no fellows come up against us. Why? Because they literally, right? They literally communicate with each other, right? They send all kind of signals to each other depending on their well-being, so to speak, right? As you can see from the science, right? So when we're in the kingdom and we ain't gonna use fertilizers, the air is cleaner, the water is cleaner. You better believe that these trees and the people are gonna be rejoicing, saying, since thou art laid down, no fellas come up against us. So with that, I'm going to say, all praise unto Yahweh, Shimi Ashai, Bashim, Rekor, HaKodesh. That brought us unto the apostles of Great Millstone and honest you brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity. Shalom.